All right, what's going on, guys? So in this video, what we're going to talk about are my top fragrances from the brand of Parfums de Marly. Parfums de Marly is one of the fragrance brands, one of the niche fragrance brands that for those of us frag heads that are trying to get into niche perfumery, we want to kind of step our fragrance game up. This would be a great brand for you to go with to sort of dip your toe in niche fragrances, okay? We have 4 fragrances on the list today. All 4 of these are going to be tried, tested. They're gonna be compliment pulling, and they're all gonna touch on different ends of the spectrum. All right, and the best place to get your niche fragrances, at least for this video, is gonna be through the brand Jo Ma Shop, okay? Shameless plug, we're not getting monetized, but that is where I usually get my niche fragrances from. We're not gonna waste any further time. The first fragrance on this list is from Parfums de Marly, and this one is called Parfums de Marly Pegasus. So Parfums de Marly Pegasus is gonna be a almondy, vanilla, nutty, and powdery fragrance, okay? Nice for cold weather settings. Definitely as we get into sort of the fall and winter, this would be a great gift for you to put your hands on, get your nose on. And so Parfums de Marly Pegasus is gonna come at us with some cumin, some bergamot. It's gonna come at us with some bitter almond. It's also gonna come at us with some lavender, some jasmine. Then we got vanilla, sandalwood, and amber, okay? So a really nice kind of burst of nuts, vanilla, irisy sort of, or even though there's no iris, it definitely smells kind of powdery, kind of floral. And then you also are gonna get that little bit of a masculine nut, amber, and sandalwood, of course. So a really nice cold weather fragrance for those of us who like those sort of aromatic and gourmand fragrances, right? Next fragrance that we have on the list from Parfums de Marly is gonna be one of my favorites just for the scent profile and for those of us who like more of the tobacco scents. This one I got a small bottle of because I got it on a nice deal. And so this one here is called Parfums de Marly Herod, okay? So Parfums de Marly Herod is gonna be for those of us who still like to stay on the warm, spicy end of the spectrum, but we like tobacco fragrances. So it's gonna have some tobacco, some vanilla, and then it's gonna have some cinnamon, okay? This fragrance to me reminds me a lot of a more smooth and a niche version of Viktor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme. It's a little bit in that ilk. The pepperwood that they have in this fragrance coupled with the cinnamon and then the incense and the isoe super musk makes this a little bit more masculine versus I feel like versus Viktor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme is a masculine scent, but it's a little bit sweeter. So if you like it's more gourmand, I would go with that if you want the designer version. But if you want to step it up, give the fragrance a little bit more character, I would go with this one here, Herod, okay? But a great get, great find. My brother Bernard put me onto this one. He's also a frag head, and so he wore this when we were in Atlanta, and I had to go pull the trigger. I blind bought it, and there's been no regrets from that purchase, okay? Next fragrance we're gonna talk about is another one, and this one kind of has a little bit different character. When I had my nose on it, it kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit, but nonetheless, as I've worn it out, as I've got my nose on it, I definitely am loving the character. I'm glad I got this one of my favorites in my entire collection. And so this one is gonna be called Parfums de Marly. This one's called Carlisle, okay? So Parfums de Marly Carlisle is gonna still have your vanillas in there. So we're seeing a bit of a pattern here. Parfums de Marly is kind of known for having these diverse, sweeter, aromatic, gourmand, sort of fragrances, but then they add a touch of freshness in there to keep it versatile. And that's one of the things with niche fragrances is they really have to, their namesake is fragrances. They really have to be able to blend the notes and the character a little bit better. And this one is one where you have that vanilla character, but then it goes into the more fresh, spicy end of the spectrum. So you're gonna get patchouli, and then you're also gonna get that green apple, that saffron. There's gonna be some nutmeg. And this one they put some davin on, they put some tonka bean, and they also put some patchouli, like I said. So a more fresh, spicy version. This one I would say, if you want to change it up, you want it more so spring night, I would wear this one out. You still want the weather a little bit cooler. If you try to wear this during a warm weather setting, it might be a little too sweet, but I think you can still pull it off if you blend it well. You definitely don't want to wear this during hot weather, not at all. But for this one, just if you want your character to be a little bit different, you want a little bit fresher, you want it overly gourmand, overly aromatic, you want a little bit nuttier though, bang, I go with this one, Carlisle, all right? Last fragrance of the day is kind of their GOAT, sort of their one that put them on the map. They're one that, everybody kind of knows is the most familiar, but then it also means it's the most mass pleasing. And this one here is Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusive, all right? So Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusive, there's the original Layton, and Layton Exclusive is kind of the richer version. I always am gonna go with the fragrance that goes with the more character, has a little bit more depth to it, and this one does that for me. Okay, Layton Exclusive is gonna be a fragrance that is on the warm, spicy end of the spectrum with some vanilla. It's also gonna have some wood, some aromatic, and some fresh spices, okay? Some of the notes we're gonna get in this fragrance, you're gonna get hit with that apple, you're gonna hit with that lavender, that bergamot, that mandarin orange, then you're gonna get a really floral mid with geranium, violet, and jasmine. And then in the base, you're gonna get that vanilla, you're gonna get that cardamom, that spicy cardamom mixed with sandalwood, pepper, wood, and patchouli. So one of the more popular, one of the best fragrances to come out, to be dropped, and you can smell the richness and the character. Great longevity, all four of these, but definitely I found myself always running back and falling back on Layton. Even with all the various colognes that have come out, there's nothing like the original Layton for me, all right? So we're gonna recap it. So again, if we like sort of a more vanillic, powdery, iris, almond type of note, we're gonna go with this one here, Pegasus by Parfums de Marly, okay? If we want something that is a little bit spicy, a little bit more tobacco and warm spices, we're gonna go with this one here, Parfums de Marly Herod. If you wanna change up the setting, the season, you want a little bit fresh, spicy, you're gonna go with this one here, Parfums de Marly Carlisle. Lastly, if you want the tried and true, the tested GOAT, sort of the Parfums de Marly brand, you're gonna go with this one here, Parfums de Marly. You can go either Layton or you can go Layton Exclusive. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Again, my top Parfums de Marly fragrances in my collection. Remember, get your hands on these fragrances, especially if you're trying to get into niche perfumery. And as always, I appreciate all you guys who listen. Continue to subscribe, continue to like the video, share the page with a fellow fraghead. Let's all look good, feel good, smell good together. We'll catch y'all on the next one, all right? Much love.